Hey, what's up, guys? This is Michael Ramirez. I am recording my Week 10 vlog on San Diego Code School's Full Stack program. I'm on Week 10, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling like I'm heading towards the finish line now, of the program, which is like really cool. Pretty stoked to almost be done. Felt like I have learned a lot so far throughout the curriculum, which is good. Um, Definitely have had a lot of challenges throughout the curriculum as well, but just most importantly, have learned a lot. So, biggest challenge I would say I faced this week was probably just I think it was mostly working with so inside the Node 200 module, that's what I was primarily working on in the past week. And I would say like the biggest challenges I was maybe having was working with the Mongoose blog API as well as the Loopback API as well. Loopback wasn't too bad, but I felt like the Mongoose had gave me some. I was having a struggle through that a little bit because I was just trying to figure out how to post and do post get and post requests on the server side with Node. So and then using the Mongoose API. So I had definitely some trouble with that. And what it ended up coming down to mostly for me was just simple syntax errors. I was just calling information at the wrong time inside of the code. So I was able to overcome that challenge by essentially just being able to ask other people for help, get feedback as to what I was doing wrong, and then as well as like how I could fix it. So I would definitely always recommend, just like how I always do, is just like ask for help. Definitely try to figure it out on your own first. Use Google, Stack Overflow, the normal resources that you would normally use in order to try to figure something out. But like if you're still hitting a block, then take advantage of the resources that you have. And if you're at San Diego Code School, then definitely those resources would include your neighbors, um, other more advanced people that are further along in the curriculum, or people who are just there, just ready to help, who are already engineers. And granted, somebody will be able to eventually help you figure out what it is you're trying to do. So that's how I overcame that challenge for me this week. My goal at the time was just to try to get through like the whole Node 200 module, which is good. I was able to barely get that goal accomplished, but I'm glad that I did. I'm currently starting on React 200 module, working with Redux and state management, and essentially being able just to learn how Redux utilizes a store in order to create, manage, and like update the state of an application in Redux. So currently right now I'm just watching tons of content videos and just taking a bunch of notes as to like what does what, learning about how the state actually gets modified with Redux and how it works with the store, dispatching actions, stuff like that, of that nature. And then obviously just learning how it works in general. So that'll definitely be the new thing that I'm going to be learning this week. And as far as like the last week, I'd probably say one of the biggest things I thought was pretty cool that I learned about was learning about loopback. And I felt like although loopback will really never be utilized in production in real life, I think it's still an incredibly useful API to use because you could essentially work with different types of databases like on the fly. MongoDB is what I was utilizing to work with loopback, but nonetheless, you can utilize it with other databases as well. And the best part about it is that you won't have to rewrite a lot of your code in order to be able to have loopback work with that database, which is like really the biggest benefit behind utilizing it. So I think it's like good, I would say, for like quick testing, making like get and post requests really quick without having to have like a full-blown setup. So I thought that was pretty cool that I learned about. And yeah, I definitely had learned about a lot of that too by referring to the loopback documentation as well as actually going through a lot of the project curriculum instructions. So that was pretty good. I would definitely say any advice that I have for anybody going through the full stack program, or whether it's front end or back end, is like if you ever get a chance to work with Loopback, definitely try to take what you can from learning about Loopback as well as any other server-side API. Feel like they're incredibly useful, even if you're maybe not planning on doing back-end work. I feel like both sides can always benefit. So if you're doing front end and that's what you want to do, I feel like it's always helpful to know a little bit about the back end and vice versa. So that's been pretty cool. So as far as the mob programming session is concerned, I thought that was pretty cool. This past week, we were we had pretty much finished up the last project we were on, which is essentially creating a randomizer for pairing up people in groups. So we're pretty much done with that, but then now we're going to start working on a dashboard for our learning management system, which is what we utilize to actually track our progress throughout the curriculum now at San Diego Code School. But what I liked about it is that we're actually, like, as part of a mob programming session, we're actually going to build out like a widget that essentially has your dashboard, and it has like all the kinds of like important details that are useful for both you and people who are helping you get through the curriculum. So stuff like how much time you logged in the code editor, what kind of coding did you actually do in the code editor, stuff of that nature. How many hours were you in class this week? So just like important metrics like that will essentially be on the dashboard. So I actually feel like that's pretty cool that we're able to start building out a widget that will actually be utilized in our own learning management system. So I think that's pretty cool that it actually creates business value so for the company, but or the school, I should say. But anyways, right now, yeah, so I'm just learning, taking videos and notes on Redux, and gonna start pretty soon working on the budget tracker application with Redux. And then following that, I think I'll be working on a weather app that involves utilizing Redux, and lastly the movie finder. And then that'll essentially be it. And then I'll be finally done with the core curriculum, and then we'll go into group projects after that. I'll get paired up with a couple other people who are at where I'm at in the curriculum, and then we'll essentially just start going through that and start building that stuff out. But I'll cover more detail about that once I'm finished. But until next week, I'll see you guys then.